You won't believe what happened at Angie Stone's funeral. It started as a moment of mourning, a farewell to a legend who had given the world some of the most soulful and heartfelt music. Fans, friends, and industry icons gathered to celebrate her life. But what unfolded that day left everyone in shock. The air inside the venue was heavy with emotion. People walked in with tears in their eyes, knowing they were about to say goodbye to someone who had touched their lives. The sound of Angie's music played softly in the background, reminding everyone of the powerful voice that had defined a generation. But no one was prepared for what was about to happen. Let me tell you, this was not just a normal tribute. It was something far more personal, something that would change everything people thought they knew about Angie Stone. As the ceremony began, one tribute after another poured in. Fellow musicians shared heartfelt words, recalling the kindness and wisdom Angie had shown throughout her career. Fans outside the venue held on to each other, playing her songs and reliving the memories she had created for them. But then the moment came that no one expected. Angie's daughter took the stage. The crowd fell silent as she stepped forward, her hands shaking slightly. The pain on her face was clear, but there was also a sense of determination in her eyes. This was not just a farewell speech. This was something deeply personal. She took a deep breath, looked around the room, and began speaking about her mother. Not as a legendary artist, but as a mother, a woman who had sacrificed everything for her family. Her voice trembled as she shared stories from her childhood, late-night talks, moments of laughter, and the lessons her mother had taught her. She spoke about the struggles they had faced, the times they had clashed, and the misunderstandings that had shaped their relationship. But this is where it got interesting. As she continued, her words took a turn that no one saw coming. She revealed that behind the fame and success, Angie had been carrying a burden, a secret that she had kept hidden from the world, even from her own daughter. The room was frozen. No one moved. What was the secret? Why had Angie kept it to herself for so long? The tension in the air was unbearable. Then, with tears streaming down her face, Angie's daughter said something that left everyone stunned. But here is the shocking part, she whispered, pausing for a moment to gather herself. I didn't know the full story until now. The crowd gasped. What did she mean? What had she just discovered? Before anyone could process her words, she reached into her pocket and pulled out a letter. Angie's final message to her. She unfolded the paper with shaking hands and took another deep breath. The audience leaned in, their eyes fixed on her, waiting to hear what was written inside. And then, just as she was about to read it, something unexpected happened. The lights in the venue dimmed, and the screen behind her flickered to life. A video of Angie appeared on the screen, smiling softly, her eyes filled with a knowing look. If you're watching this, Angie's voice echoed through the room. Then I've already moved on to the next chapter. The entire venue fell into a stunned silence. Angie had left behind a message for them all, but what she said next would change everything. The room was frozen in time. Angie's voice, though no longer in the present, filled every corner of the venue. Her face on the screen was calm, her eyes carrying the wisdom and warmth that had always defined her. Don't cry for me, she said, her voice steady yet full of emotion. Celebrate me. Play my music. Keep my spirit alive. But this is where it got even more emotional. As she continued speaking, her tone shifted and a hint of sadness crept in. There's something I never got to say, something I kept to myself for years. The audience held their breath. What was she about to reveal? Angie had always been open about her struggles, but this felt different. This felt personal. Angie's daughter, standing on stage, clutched the letter in her hands, visibly shaken. She had thought she knew everything about her mother. But now, hearing these words, she realized there was more. So much more. I had to make a choice, Angie continued. One that no mother should ever have to make. The tension in the room was unbearable. The silence was so deep it was almost suffocating. People shifted in their seats, exchanging nervous glances. Some were already wiping away tears while others sat completely still, unable to process what they were hearing. And then Angie dropped a revelation that sent shock waves through the audience. There was someone in my life who needed me, she admitted, her voice trembling slightly. But at the time, I couldn't be there the way they deserved. Gasps filled the room. Who was she talking about? Was this a lost love? A secret family member? Her daughter's face paled as she looked back at the screen, her breathing shallow. She had never heard her mother speak like this before. Whatever this was, It was something deep, something painful, something Angie had never been able to say while she was alive. The screen flickered, and for a moment it seemed like the video had ended. But then it continued. Angie's face grew more serious, her voice quieter, almost as if she was speaking directly to one person in particular. "I did what I thought was best," she whispered. "But I always wondered, did I make the right choice?" Her daughter's hands tightened around the letter. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. The weight of her mother's words was too much. She had always known there were things left unsaid between them, but she never imagined it was something like this. The audience was in complete shock. Was Angie confessing to something? A regret? A decision that had haunted her? And if so, what was it? The video cut to black, and for a moment, there was nothing but silence. The crowd remained frozen, processing what they had just heard. Then, slowly, Angie's daughter lifted the letter once more. Her hands trembled, but she steadied herself. This was it, the final words her mother had left behind. She took a deep breath and prepared to read them aloud. But just as she opened her mouth, something else happened that no one saw coming. The silence in the room was unbearable. All eyes were fixed on Angie's daughter as she clutched the letter in her trembling hands. The weight of her mother's words pressed down on her like never before. But just as she was about to read, something unexpected happened. A voice from the crowd spoke up, breaking the heavy stillness. "She wasn't talking about what you think." Gasps rippled through the audience. People turned to see who had spoken, their hearts pounding with anticipation. A woman, an older figure dressed in black, slowly stepped forward. Her face was familiar to some, one of Angie's closest friends from the industry, someone who had been by her side for decades. Her expression was somber, yet her eyes held a knowing sadness.